Hello, kids. Today I am going to tell you a story about Thumbelina. Once upon a time, in a cozy little cottage, there lived a kind woman who longed for a child of her own. One day, she visited a magical old woman who gave her a tiny seed. "Plant this," the old woman said, "and you will soon have a child." The woman carefully planted the seed in a pot, and before long, a beautiful flower bloomed. But to her surprise, when she opened the flower, she found a tiny girl inside, no bigger than her thumb. The woman was amazed and named the tiny girl Thumbelina. Thumbelina was as sweet and kind as could be, though she was very small. She lived happily with the woman, sleeping in a walnut shell bed and playing with tiny flowers. But one day, when the woman was out, a large, hungry toad came hopping by. "Oh, what a perfect bride for my son," the toad croaked when he saw Thumbelina. Before she could protest, he scooped her up and took her away to his damp, dark home by the pond. The toad's son, who was also a toad, was very ugly, and Thumbelina did not want to marry him. She felt trapped and lonely in the toad's gloomy home. But Thumbelina was clever, and she soon came up with a plan. She made a boat out of a leaf and floated away on the pond, drifting far from the toad's house. As Thumbelina sailed, a kind fish noticed her and offered to help. The fish broke through the water and guided her to safety. Thumbelina thanked the fish and continued on her journey, but her troubles were far from over. As she walked through the forest, a hungry mole appeared. "What a lovely, tiny wife you would make," the mole said. He snatched Thumbelina up and took her to his dark underground home. Thumbelina was frightened, but she didn't give up. She began to cry, feeling hopeless. Just then, a beautiful swallow flew by and saw her distress. The bird swooped down and carried Thumbelina to a warm, sunny field, far away from the mole's home. In the field, Thumbelina made new friends. She danced with the flowers, played with the butterflies, and even met a gentle flower fairy prince who was just the right size for her. The fairy prince had been searching for someone kind and beautiful, and he knew Thumbelina was the one. Thumbelina and the fairy prince became fast friends, and soon they realized they were in love. The prince asked her to be his princess, and Thumbelina happily agreed. Together, they lived in a lovely flower palace where she was treated like royalty. Thumbelina had finally found her true home, where she was loved, cherished, and happy. She had gone from being a tiny, lonely girl to a princess, surrounded by friends and joy. And from that day on, Thumbelina lived happily ever after, knowing that no matter how small she was, her heart was big enough to bring her great happiness. So kids, that's all for today. If you like our story, please press the bell icon. See you next time with another story.